Hello and welcome to Speed Cafe's preview of the 2025 Spanish Formula One Grand Prix, the third and final leg of F1's second triple header for the 2025 season. The Circuit de Catalunya in Barcelona is hosting its 34th race for the World Championship, having first contested a Grand Prix in 1991. It's a circuit that the drivers know very, very well, often used in testing. This is due to a combination of its types of corners, elevation changes, helps teams evaluate a variety of different setups at this circuit. Very familiar with all the teams and all the drivers. And it's also, of course, the complete opposite of what we just saw in Monaco last weekend, the slowest race of the season. This is a circuit, as I said, with high-speed corners, meaning, yes, potential for overtakes. This weekend will also be the scene of a much-talked-about regulation change, with the FIA introducing new front wing regulations this weekend in Spain. From this weekend onwards, all teams will be subjected to static load tests, with the maximum front wing deflection under load being reduced from 15mm to 10mm. Now, this comes off the back of already introduced rear flexing wing tests that were brought in for both the Australian and Chinese Grand Prix. The FIA were quite late in announcing these changes for the 2025 season, only doing so in January. And that is the reason why we're waiting to the 9th round of the season to introduce these rules, to allow teams to adapt their current cars to these new changes without effectively ruining anything else that had already brought on the cars. The big question, of course, around these changes is, will it shake up the order? And will there perhaps be a spanner thrown in the works when it comes to the 2025 championships? Opinions around this are mixed, with teams like Red Bull and Ferrari hopeful they will, while other teams are not so hopeful that this will change much in the pecking order. Whether it brings drastic change or not, expect it to be the big key talking point this weekend at the Spanish Grand Prix. Speaking of Ferrari, the Spanish Grand Prix was set to be the scene of a much-hyped upgrade for the team this weekend. However, team principal Fred Vasseur did confirm earlier this month that that upgrade has been delayed at least until next month, meaning the team will only bring a new front wing to Spain this weekend. The team do arrive in Barcelona this weekend fresh off the back of their best result of the 2025 season, with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton both finishing in the top 4 around the streets of Monaco. However, the team do remain cautious that might have been just a one-off, with both Hamilton and Leclerc not expecting it to translate into a big push towards the front of the field just yet. Just like they have at every race in 2025, McLaren remain the team to beat entering Spain, but keep an eye out on Max Verstappen and Red Bull. As we have seen so far in 2025, circuits with high-speed corners really do suit the Red Bull and Max Verstappen, with his form at this circuit being very strong over the years. This was the scene, of course, of his famous debut victory back in 2016, when on debut for Red Bull he won that race, and he has taken the last 3 Spanish Grand Prix. McLaren, on the other hand, actually haven't won in Spain since 2005, when Kimi Raikkonen beat then Renault driver Fernando Alonso to the win. Lando Norris did start this race last year on pole position, but ended up finishing second in the race. Coming off the back of his Monaco Grand Prix win, his first win, of course, since Melbourne, he will be very much pumped ahead of this weekend and hoping to continue that form and put the fight to Oscar Piastri in the championship. Speaking of Piastri, he does go into this race with a slender 3-point lead, having his championship lead whittled down, having not won the last 2 Grand Prix. He will be hoping to return to the winner's step this weekend in Barcelona, a race that only one Australian has ever won before, his manager, Mark Webber, who did so back in 2010. A couple of interesting facts to note about the Spanish Grand Prix. This circuit does currently have the highest pole-to-win ratio of any circuit on the F1 calendar. 72% of the races at Barcelona have been won by the driver starting from pole position. For reference, Monaco only has a 45% ratio of pole to win over its entire history. So remember that when it comes to qualifying this weekend. But if that worries you slightly and thinks, well, maybe we're not going to have overtaking this weekend in Barcelona, think again. Last year, there were 55 overtakes at the 2024 Spanish Grand Prix, the second most of the entire season, only behind Las Vegas. Coming off the back of Monaco last weekend, I'm sure that will be a stat that excites many fans into this weekend. And speaking of excited fans, of course, Spain means hometown support for Fernando Alonso and Carlos Sainz. Always brings an eclectic atmosphere around the Circuit de Catalunya, so expect to see a lot of happy, excited, and rabid Spanish fans, particularly if Alonso can break through for his first points of 2025. Of course, for all the latest updates, news, results, and everything else from the Spanish Grand Prix, stay tuned right here to Speed Cafe.